Hello everyone, welcome back to Kirklees Guitar School. Today we're going to have a look at Come As You Are by Nirvana. This is a really good kind of intermediate level tune. It's got some good alternate picking exercise, some bar chord exercise and a really cheeky fun little solo to have a go at. There's a full PDF transcription of this that you can download for free from one of the first two links in the description. The first link is our private Facebook community. You can join that on Facebook, navigate to the files tab and download it completely for free. If Facebook's not your thing, you can head to the second link in the description and join our email list, and you'll get a weekly email with all of the tabs that I cover that week. I'm working on an archive as well, so those of you that are waiting for that, thank you for being patient. So today we're going to have a look at the whole tune. Now, my methodology behind this piece is how can I play it as if I was playing a gig, and how can I give you one guitar part with all the cool bits in so you can play the song from start to finish. If I was the only guitar player on the gig, this is what I'd play. There's a great resource for this. I'll just put the chords on screen if you have to have a go at while I'm waffling. There's a great channel on YouTube called Nirvana Guitars. You can head to that YouTube channel and it does a full breakdown which you can see, and this was the inspiration for a lot of today's video. I'm going to go into the equipment at the back end of the video, so I think it's also worth mentioning that this piece is in what we call D standard. So if you have a look at the guitar headstock on the left hand side, that's standard tuning for a guitar. Eddie 8 Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie. The guitar's tuned to E, A, D, G, B, E. Now on the right hand side is how I've got my guitar tuned, which basically I've taken every one of those notes and I've dropped it by a tone, which is equivalent to 2 keys on the piano or 2 frets of the guitar. So I've tuned the guitar to D, G, C, F, A and D. And what that gives me is it gives me this really deep sound. John Fogerty played in D standard a lot, and a lot of the Nirvana stuff is in D standard. I'm going to do a lesson on that one as well at some point soon. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see it. So the whole piece kind of revolves around this sort of so what I'm doing is all of this to begin with. The first 3 notes is what we call a lead in. Now these first 3 notes are what gets you going, and once you hit this repeat marker, these 2 bars are just repeated over and over and over again. So starting over here, I'm going to play the low E string. All of this is alternate picked, by the way. I'm going to do 2 zeros on the low E string, which is technically it's the D string, but you know what I'm saying. And then I'm going to take the index finger and I'm going to press fret number 1, and then I'm going to use the second finger, the middle finger, for fret number 2. I'm then going to alternate, I'm going to alternate between the open A string and that 2nd fret. Can you see how I've done that twice? Yeah, he says. Now can you see when we get here we pick that E string twice before coming back down to where we once came. Then we go here, open low E string, 2nd fret of the A string, 2 open E's again, 2nd fret again, I'm over here, and then this 0 and this 1 are just the same as over here. So this is what makes it sort of like cyclical, it goes round and round and round. Pause the video and have a go at that. Watch my picking hand. Now I like to use these 2 fingers, following the finger per fret rule. If you want to use your 2nd finger and 3rd finger, you might catch me doing that occasionally. As long as you're using more than 1 finger, I don't want to see this. We don't want any of that. Use 2 fingers for that. Pause the video and get that under your fingers. That's a really big part of the song and it works as a great exercise. You don't necessarily have to be tuned down to D standard just to practice that exercise, but if you want to play along with the record, I would highly recommend it. So we're gonna do this little bit of an intro, this little bit of a lead in, and then we hit the main riff, which always beat 1 starts on that F sharp note, the 2nd fret of the low E string. We're gonna repeat these 2 bars 4 times. That's what this means over here. These funny looking brackets are called repeat markers. Once you've played that 4 times, you'll then go to the next page in the next line in the PDF, which is the exact same riff. We just do it 8 times. Now you should hit this point here and you should hear Kurt start singing. And it's just the same. Now this should take you all the way up to the memory part, which is what I've labelled as the pre-chorus. So we've got an F sharp minor bar chord and an A major bar chord. Now out of all of the bar chords, this one, can you see on the left hand side, this is kind of, I'd say it's the most preferable one to have a go at to be honest. It's like a power chord, but you're just doing an extra bit of a bar. So if you think about the, on the low E string over here, it's 2, 4, 4. Now I'm going to use index, ring and pinky to create that power chord shape. And then I'm going to use the index finger to bar all of those notes. And we're going to go down, down, up, up, down. That's the strumming pattern on that first chord. Have a go at that for me. Following that, we go to an A major chord. Now sometimes you'll see me bar it, do like a mini bar there, but just for the sake of today, I'll play it like this. So we're doing it all prim and proper. And we're gonna back between these 2. Now this over here is called an alternate ending. What that means is you see the repeat markers at either side here. Well, that means we're going to play this whole 4 bar phrase twice. So you start here, you play your F sharp, you play your A, you play your F sharp, you play your A. Ooh, we're on the first repeat, so we're going to play this bar over here. So you just tootle along as normal. Hit the repeat marker and you get bungeed all the way back over here. So we're on the 2nd repeat now, you're minding your business, you're playing all this. And we're on the 2nd repeat, so what that means is once we get to this point, before we progress onto this bar over here, we jump over and play this one here. So on the first repeat you play this bar, and on the 2nd repeat you play this bar. And can you see what's different? You've got that lead in from the very beginning of the piece again, haven't you? Can you see where it says intro? The 001. So all you're going to do on that 2nd repeat, you strum as normal and you're going to do the down, down, up on the A chord and then jump back in, back to that verse section. Let me play it all in situ. So this is the first repeat. First ending, back to the beginning, F sharp, A, F sharp, and now I'm going to skip over. Can you see how I skipped over? I only did 3 strokes of that A and then moved on to the next bit. This serves as the 3rd line in the PDF that's labelled the pre. So then, from that point, and I do encourage you to go and get this, by the way. It's completely for free, won't cost you anything, and you're not going to be dumped in an email chain and you get loads of spam email. It's just a way of getting it to you, okay? So we've done intro, verse, pre-chorus. Following that, you've got what's labelled verse 2 and pre-chorus again at the bottom of the first page. So we're essentially going verse, pre-chorus, and that handles the whole first page of the piece. We then go into what's called the bridge at the top of page 2, which has got this B sus4 chord, which is basically a power chord, but you're letting the strings underneath ring out, and a D sus2 chord, which is a D chord, but you're letting the high E ring out instead. And these are like very floaty, kind of nice sounding chords. B sus2 sounds like this. He says. So it's just a power chord, but I'm letting the B string and the high E ring out. And then a D sus2, which is a D, but you take that 2nd fret of the high E and let that open high E string ring out. And can you hear how they're like floaty sounding? finishes just the same as the pre-chorus, doesn't it? It goes back to the riff. Now, the only thing that's different here is this is the way I think about these two sections. This one is the memory, which is it's got quite a clean guitar tone. When you go to the bridge, I've got a Boss DS1 on the floor, which I'll talk about tones in a second. But that's when it gets really distorted. And that's the, and I swear that I don't, da da da. It's that bit which sort of precedes the solo and the big instrumental sections. It's just the same. It's just the same, however, I've got a bit more of a distorted, angry tone. And instead of going from F sharp minor to A, I'm going to that B power chord with the open strings and that D sus2. And you want that nice floaty kind of sound, even with the... But we'll get on to tones in a bit. So that's the bridge section. Following on from the bridge, you'll go into what's called an instrumental section, which basically, all that means is it's the intro, but I'm going to leave the overdrive pedal on. So after I've gone from... which is going to precede. This 6th fret looks really out of place, and that's because it belongs to the solo. Now the solo starts a little bit prematurely with this 6th fret of the G string. Now what I'm going to do tone wise, I've got my DS1 on the floor, and I'm then going to put a tube screamer on top of it just for a little bit of boost. And what that does is it simulates the pedal being really, really loud in the room. It just gives it a little bit more sustain. Can you hear how like without? Sounds okay. It's got that sound, hasn't it? Which is really, it's a really loud amplifier in the room and getting feedback, and we can't really do that here. So we're going to start the solo with that 6th fret. And we're essentially going to go 6th fret, 9th fret, 11th fret, back to the 6th to create this 4 fret phrase. Bam, 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 bam. He does it twice, climbs back up. So I'm here, can you see how I've gone? Dun, 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 dun. And then there's this little bend here. On that 3rd time round, you're going to pick the 11 as normal, pick it again, and you're just going to bend it the equivalent of 1 fret. So you're going to bend it as if you're trying to achieve the note of the G string. And then come back and walk down it. Pause the video and have a go at that. You're going to do it twice, and it's really... there's not a lot in it, but that's kind of the charm of it. If you start on the 6th fret, it sounds even better. Now you repeat that 4 times. Now I'm really like trying to coax as much sustain out of the guitar as I can. You see how I'm doing loads of vibrato? When I watch Kurt play, he does it all with 1 finger, working backwards and forwards. Now the inner guitar teacher in me would tell you to play the 6s with the index finger and everything else with the ring finger. It doesn't really matter, it's that whole grungy kind of vibe which you're going for, and to be honest, what finger you're using there, it's all about making sure you're coaxing enough sustain out of the instrument. Now, can you see here, if we go out of the and I swear that I da 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 into the instrumental, into the solo, can you see how this cheeky little 6th fret comes just a little bit earlier, and then you're going into the solo. Now, following on from that, so looking at the top of page 2, we've done bridge with the 2 alternating repeats. We've done the instrumental, which starts the solo with that cheeky little 6th fret into the solo 4 times. We then do a pre-chorus 4 times. We then do a bridge 3 times, not 2 times. It's clearly notated on the PDF for you. And then we go into the riff. Now, when you go to the riff for the ending, this is at the very bottom of page 2. When you get to that point, what I'd like you to do, if you can, I'd like you to have your overdrive pedal on, and I'll tell you why. Because it's the absolute like penultimate kind of climax of the song. You want to have the band are really going for it, and if you're just plinking away with no distortion, you're going to get lost. But also, you've got this 2nd fret here. Now, you're going to play the whole thing twice, or 4 times around the riff, whichever way you want to think about it. And then when you catch that 2nd fret to finish, the whole band finish there. And you want to have this sort of, the band all kind of like finish on that, and it sort of peters out. And I want you to have enough sustain. So I'm going to play this as if I'm doing it for the 2nd time. And once I get to the end of the 4th bar, I'm going to catch that 2nd fret and I'm just going to let it peter out. And can you hear how I did what's called a ral? In this very last bar, I sort of slowed it right down and took it from there. So, hopefully that helped. Let's talk about guitar tones now. So, what I'm using on the original record, according to Nirvana's guitars, go check them out. They're a really, really cool YouTube channel. You can see how I've demoted my SD1 and my looper up here. And that's because the record has 2 guitars on it. I'll just dismantle my pedal board for you. Now, the record has two guitars, 2 main guitar parts laid on top of each other, most likely double tracked. I can't remember exactly what he said on the video. There's obviously a lot of chorus on the record, and I'm using this Bellcat analog chorus, which I've had since God Were a Lad. Now, because it's an analog chorus, it's a little bit Larry, I think. You see the depth is all the way up and the rate's on next to none. On analog chorus, if you have the rate too high, it detunes the signal that's going into it, and we don't want that. A Boss digital chorus, or if you've got a Katana, that on the modulation section, I think it's the green setting, will work really well. You want it to almost sound like it's underwater without it detuning. So I got this from Gear for Music probably well over a decade ago, and it doesn't come out of the cupboard often, but I'm glad I've got it whenever it needs to. Now, a student at the school kindly lent this to me, which is the Boss DS1. I did have a copy of this. You can see my settings on this one if I do this. Now, I haven't got it actually that crazy, to be honest. The distortions are at 1 o'clock, the tone's at 11 o'clock, and the level is on 11 o'clock as well. Now, on Nirvana's guitars, they said that pretty much everything apart from the tone was dimed, as in turned all the way up to 10. And I just didn't like the sound it was producing. So those work better for me. But bearing in mind, these Jazzmaster pickups are it's a vintage spec instrument, is this one. This is an American vintage Jazzmaster. And I'm using the middle position, which is using both pickups. Everything else is on 10. Into the Fender Princeton, my treble is on 7, my bass is on 5, my reverb is on 3. I'm not using the tremolo circuit. And then I was just using the Tube Screamer for that extra little push of gain. Everything's at 12 o'clock there, and that's just more a kind of a volume, a clean boost would work there. I just wanted more sustain and more volume, not necessarily any more gain. So, let me know in the comments, is there another... Nirvana's a little bit different for us compared to what we normally do, but I really, really enjoy that kind of stuff. So let me know if you've got any recommendations for other Nirvana songs you'd like me to have a look at. Don't forget to head to one of the 2 links in the description. First and second link in the description to grab your free PDF. It's completely free, don't want anything from you. And I will see you next week for another electric guitar lesson. Thank you so much.